Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Joyce, as you can tell from my dark room, we're doing this after dark.
It is, but the lighting in the room is constantly changing.
In my room,
it looks like you're in a rave.
So if I lean back, the ring light kind of blows up. And if I lean forward, I can get darkened.
You should just do it lean back. Yeah, the whole time. Yeah, for the whole hour.
We're not here to talk about my lighting and how bad it is, even though I have this giant.
Maybe we should do cinematography one day just to talk about your lighting.
I mean, I have the biggest ring light in the world. It's the size of a basketball, and it doesn't seem to want to work. But Joyce, you get what you pay for when you spend $30 on Amazon, I guess.
This was an emergency ring light because
the other one died.
Yeah.
So we're not here to talk about that, Joyce. We're here to talk about the limited series categories, our favorite. Question mark? For the Emmys?
They were our favorite pre-nominations.
Now it's like chaos in a different fashion, where it just is like there's two shows that could win series, and that's it. Nothing else. No offense to the other shows, but they don't really have as much, I would say, of a chance as the White Lotus or Dopesick. And if you look at our combined odds, you add up the Dropout, Pam and Tommy, and Inventing Anna, and you get, and I'm bad at math, Joyce, but it's less than 100. It's less than 75.
So the bottom three, I guess you could call them.
Yes.
They're all at 9-2.
Yes. So not the strongest odds.
What if one of them win though? So the Dropout, Pam and Tommy, and Inventing Anna.
So I think Pam and Tommy would win if it was just based on the nominations. Actors liked it. It's about Hollywood.
It got 10 nominations. It didn't get writing or directing.
But it's about Hollywood. So Hollywood loves Hollywood. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, I mean it's some of its crafts are not surprising, like makeup,
right,
and costumes and hairstyling. That's not surprising at all. But it got casting, right? Yeah, it got.
I mean, there was a time when I thought the Dropout could just sweep through, but as we talked about in our typing column, I just think has not stood the test of the season, unfortunately.
I mean, we talked about that this whole spring, summer, like how it built a lot of buzz, like as it was airing, and then it ended. And it got better as this season went on, but it just felt like after it was over, it really just became focused on Amanda, and then we were not sure if it would make it in series, and it did.
It did.
So, like the staircase didn't make it.
No. So, a lot didn't make it.
Yeah, and it still it's in a weird situation because it got 6 and it's a contemporary show, so you could say it was never gonna, no one was predicting it for like makeup and stuff, right? Like maybe it could have gone contemporary costumes,
right?
But it got writing and directing, double directing,
which is a surprise, maybe you could say, based on like the amount of other contenders in the category.
Yeah.
So maybe it could win, Joyce.
Yeah, I would say like of the bottom 3, it's probably the most respected.
Right. And I mean that shows in our rankings, and certainly I actually have Pam and Tommy ahead of it, but I have Pam and Tommy ahead of it with 100-1 odds. But I have the White Lotus winning still, Joyce, and I'm not totally sure about it, but I just think it's like the obvious pick based on the 20 nominations. I could see Dopesick winning for sure, but I'm going to stick with the White Lotus for now.
I have White Lotus. Everyone, all the branches votes in or vote in the program categories.
Right.
So I think it'll win just because that. Dopesick is probably, the more respected show, like the more serious show about a serious subject matter. So I can see it winning, but I don't know.
I guess the case for Dopesick is that it's the more serious subject matter, and that, like you have said previously, just because it had 14 noms compared to the 20 for White Lotus, it actually did it pretty well comparatively, right? Because the White Lotus got so many acting, I think 8 acting nominations, right?
Yeah, I got 8 acting. I mean,
Dopesick
got 6. It just missed for Rosario. So White Lotus has a bigger cast, too. So, but it's still, it's below the line performance is still good as well. So it's like sort of on par with the White Lotuses. So
I guess too, it depends on like what people. So like with these, like we've talked about this, no one is going to go back and watch Dopesick or the White Lotus, right? I have a hard time believing a Television Academy member is going to go, you know what, I got to rewatch White Lotus. I just don't believe that. They have too much stuff to
no
watch.
one is going to watch any of these, which is why it's fun now seeing people freak out about tapes,
right?
Like episode submissions. Like none of these people are going to go back and rewatch these shows,
and they don't remember the episodes either, probably, right? Because it's just like
no, because and also like us being nerds, or like the people who follow this stuff being nerds and saying like this is a bad episode for blah blah blah, or they should have submitted this. Like no voter is going to be like, I am not voting for X because that was the quote unquote wrong episode that they submitted, like they're gonna, if they have already seen the show, they're just gonna remember what they liked about that performance, especially if they voted for them in phase 1 for the nomination,
Exactly. So then you're left with, do people have a better fondness for White Lotus or Dopesick in their mind? Now, Dopesick is a more serious show. And I think when you're watching it, you're like, man, this is a bummer. Certainly. White Lotus is like fun or satirical, right? A dark comedy. There's more humor in it, certainly. And I wonder, though, which one ages better? Do you have a more, like, does the White Lotus satire kind of like not as powerful? Almost a year ago it aired, right? I think it was on last August, the White Lotus. So
it premiered in July.
July, right? Yeah. So like over a year later, you like, oh, the White Lotus really aged well. I mean, I think it did, but I'm not sure if maybe Dopesick has the greater staying power. So then you're left with, do people just go, I like Dopesick a lot?
I think Dopesick, a lot of people do like Dopesick. I think we've talked about this before, and how I don't think that show like maxed out in its in pop culture popularity, right? But I think people just eventually got to it, like the general public, I mean, and voters too, but like they watch it and they like it, like great performances. And I don't think like anyone hates the show.
No.
Whereas like we've talked about before, like White Lotus, a satire, it can be divisive. Clearly not with the Academy.
Right.
It's got 20 nominations. But like Dopesick also won a Peabody.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it possible that like Dopesick is the Queen's Gambit to White Lotus is Mayor of Easttown, I guess?
Do you mean the other way?
Yes, I meant the other way. You know what I meant. I got confused.
Well, I mean, the Queen's Gambit still won series.
So that's what I meant. No, I meant it that way. Is Dopesick like Queen's Gambit? And is White Lotus like Mirror, where it's going to get the acting wins, even though Dopesick will get Michael Keaton win, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But I wonder if it's like that kind of thing, where it's. But like, then,
are you saying that Dopesick's going to win 3 acting awards?
No.
Wait, you're saying Dopesick is Queen's?
Yes.
This is confusing because it's more sense to be the other way.
I think it may be a Dopesick is Queen's, where it could win series in the end because it's like the stronger overall show. But White Lotus is going to get more acting wins, I guess. It's not a perfect comp, Joyce.
No, it's not. It's a very flawed comp, because actually you could say Dopesick, the better comparison for Dopesick, as where we are now with what everyone's predicting, is Dopesick is like When They See Us, we'll just win actor.
Okay. So you're going back a little further.
And then like White Lotus would be like Chernobyl and win everything else.
Okay.
Because that's basically what everyone's predicting right now.
So that's the comp I think maybe I should go
because
with.
like Queen's Gambit, I wouldn't say is more serious than Mare. I think
I guess my thought was that Queen's Gambit was the strong, clearly, I think that overall the stronger show.
Well, yeah, it had more nominations, I think by 2. And obviously it dominated creative arts. It won 9 out of 12 at creative arts, and then everyone freaked out, and that's when everyone jumped ship from Kate Winslet to Anya Taylor-Joy.
I did that, yeah.
I did not. I stuck with Kate all the way.
You were right.
Yeah. Don't give up on Kate. She'll come through.
She's got so many TV projects now that are like multiple Emmy winners.
She has 2 HBO limited series in the works.
Can't even tell the difference, but I'm like, they'll just release them back-to-back years and she'll win 2 Emmys probably.
Yeah, so she won her first 2 Emmys for HBO series that start with the letter M, and now she has 2 HBO limited series in the works with the definite article in the title, So
another 2 Emmys. Congratulations to Kate Winslet on those Emmys.
Yeah, but like I think everyone would look at like the White Lotus's 20 nominations versus Dopesick's 14 and be like, obviously White Lotus is the front runner, like Queen's Gambit is.
I guess that makes sense. I just think that from I don't know.
I mean, like last year, the serious show was Underground Railroad.
True. Which would have gotten more nominations if it was weekly, as we talked about.
They should have just held it and premiered it like in the fall, so it'd be eligible this year.
If Underground Railroad was in the, not that we need to do this, but if Underground Railroad was here, I think it would be cleaning up.
No shade to any of the nominees this year, but any of the 5 nominees last year would have easily won series this year.
I said that in our column on Friday about the actress category, which I guess
for sure.
Next.
Yeah.
So I have Lily James still winning. We talked about this in our column. Amanda Seyfried I have in second. For the odds though, Amanda Seyfried is like the mostly overwhelming choice. And then Lily James is next, followed by Margaret Qualley, Julia Garner, Toni Collette, and Sarah Paulson rounding out the top 6. I'm still sticking with Lily. I just think that she's going to come on strong. She really is. I just feel like she's really pushing for it, where I'm not sure Amanda is yet.
She is. They both are.
I felt like Amanda did a lot of her press before the nominations.
She just had another interview with Hollywood Reporter last week. She said, because she's taking her husband Thomas Sadowski to the Emmys, they asked like, who are you taking? And she says, obviously Thomas, but he has a conflict because his film is premiering at TIFF that same day.
What film?
So I don't know, but some film. And he's gonna go with her to the Emmys. So
that's nice. I'm looking up the movie choice. So I still have I guess Devotion maybe.
Sure. Yes.
It's a Korean War movie with Jonathan Majors and
she did say it was a
Glenn Powell. So that's what this is.
Yeah.
Love me some Glenn Powell, Joyce. We'll talk about him maybe when we do our early Oscar talk at some point. But I think Lily James can win because of the transformation aspect. And I think she's really pushing for it. And I think in the end, another thing I was thinking of the category is like, this is kind of silly, but like, as you've talked about with Laura Linney and Sarah Snook, where they don't love women that they don't like, right? So like unlikable women characters don't necessarily do as well with the male-fronted television academy. So I'm looking at Elizabeth Holmes and Pamela Anderson. I actually think the way, especially based on like reality, Pam and Tommy is much more sympathetic to Pamela Anderson. I think you have like a lot more empathy for her, even though I think a great thing about The Dropout is that you do have empathy for Elizabeth Holmes. I think most people are like, Elizabeth Holmes sucks. And so maybe that'll help like Lily James in a close race, because you're more apt to be like, I feel bad for Pamela Anderson. And even though you should feel bad for Elizabeth Holmes too, as the show shows, and that's kind of like the point, I think people are still gonna be like, screw her. So I don't know, that maybe is another reason to put her over the top.
I agree. Pam has a very sympathetic portrayal in Pam and Tommy, but I think the key difference between Elizabeth Holmes and Wendy Bird and Shiv Roy is that Elizabeth Holmes is a real person.
Right.
So I think like they know that.
You hope that.
So like they know that. Like they're not gonna like it's impressive because it's like the whole thing about like her and her voice, right? Like, and how hard she worked at her voice. Like,
yeah.
Like that, I think her playing a quote unquote unlikable character who is a real person is different than like Laura Linney and Sarah Snook playing quote unquote unlikable female characters who are fictional.
And just to be clear, we don't think this is, we don't think.
No, I am all about like give Laura Linney, Sarah Snook all the Emmys in the world, please.
And I actually think the way Amanda Seyfried plays Elizabeth Holmes is actually, she's very likable, and you actually do understand a lot of her reasoning for scamming people.
Yeah, but most people don't think this way.
No.
Yeah.
So tough beat. But no, so you still have Amanda.
I still have Amanda. I think she can still do it. I mean, I think this is probably the closest acting race in limited.
Seems that way.
Lily is in a great position to win. and yeah, like it's funny because like these are both Hulu shows, right?
Yes.
And I feel like Hulu's definitely like getting out there with Pam and Tommy as a whole, obviously also because it has like 3 actors nominated. But they've been doing that this whole time. Whereas like we've said, like The Dropout has really just become the Amanda show.
Yes.
And obviously she's the only actor from The Dropout nominated.
Right.
So
which still bums me out because I think, especially, I'm just surprised, especially on an unlimited ballot, you think they would have just kind of like gone down the list.
They just went all in on the White Lotus.
Yes.
And Dopesick. Okay.
Yes. Good thing there's no White Lotus or Dopesick lead actress, because I'm sure they would be well out in front if there was.
Yeah. And then I mean, like the biggest, I mean, we talked about like how maybe or maybe not William H. Macy and like Laurie Metcalf would get in. Because like their roles are so slight. So I guess it's easy in hindsight 2020 to be like, oh, The Dropout flop because they couldn't get these well-known people like Laurie Metcalf, who was nominated for Hacks, and William H. Macy, who they just nominate for Shameless all the time until it was over. And they couldn't get in. But like they weren't in it a lot. And we've talked about this too. Like it's only real big acting snub was Naveen Andrews.
Right.
So you could say he was boxed out by Seth Rogen.
Yeah, because if they were going through White Lotus, Dopesick, and then they went to Pam and Tommy, then they went to Naveen. He was probably
and then
right behind.
and then like the early ups of Pam and Tommy, Seth Rogen is like the lead.
Yes.
So maybe people just watched like the first 3 episodes.
Maybe they might have been like, "Hey, we get the idea." No, what happens? I'll be curious to see how this plays out. I'm like I've been saying, I'm just surprised more people haven't jumped on Lily James and are. I mean,
I think this is it's still the closest.
It's still the closest, but it's not that close, I guess, compared to like other races. Like, I mean, if you look at like, I mean, not to jump categories here, but I was looking before. It's like, even like drama supporting actress Julie Garner and Sarah Snook are like pretty close, like comparatively. You know, it's like. I just think, and then like maybe like you always say, maybe as more people update as we get closer, I could see more people shifting to Lily James, so it's even closer. I don't think Amanda Seyfried will fall out from first though, going into the show.
I mean, you know, unless like Pam and Tommy like cleans up, and then people think like that means something, which as again we saw last year doesn't mean anything for Anna Taylor-Joy, even though her show dominated because only actors are voting for acting.
Right. Now you've talked about like, what about Julie Garner here sneaking in? Do they split their own vote basically, Lily James and Amanda?
I mean, I think they could. I don't know like how. I guess they're similar in that they're both playing real people. I mean, like Julie Garner is as well, but that show was a lot more fun.
Yes.
Watchable. Like not a fantastically well-made show by any means, but a lot of fun.
People liked watching it. It was very popular.
Yeah. Also, episodes were way too long, like movie length episodes. But I can see like if you don't care about this category, I can see like a casual voter just checking off Julia Garner because they saw that show.
Right. Me too, actually. And I can see the two of them splitting enough votes that it like helps her win, basically. So
Regina King is the last person in this or since they split up because limited series and TV movie used to be merged in one category. Remember those days? Yeah. And then they split them up again in 2014. So since then, Regina King for 7 seconds is the only person to have won this without her show being nominated for series. And that was another weak year in 2018 too. So you could say that the other women are out, like Margaret, Tony, and Sarah.
I think if Maid would have gotten nominated, people would have been much higher on Margaret.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because people were like
picking her to win.
People were picking Margaret to like beat Kate at the Winter Awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now she's in fourth in my picks.
She is in mine as well.
But she's third for the odds.
Yeah, just because she doesn't have Maid doesn't have the series nom.
We do like Julie Garner too. You and I.
I mean, I have Julia You mean her performance?
Yeah, it's fun.
No, it's no.
I
If
like
I was
it.
gonna nominate a performance from that show, it would have been Anna Klumsky.
Mine would have been
But
Arian
she's not
Boyette.
supporting. Anna's
No.
not supporting. That's where they ran her. But it is insane to think that Netflix got Inventing Anna a series nomination and not Made, when Made was like obviously their number one.
Pretty remarkable.
I mean, like, you could say that Margaret could still win because it's only actors voting, but I feel like Made has just kind of dissipated
A little bit, yeah. It just kind of felt like one of those, like you said, like if having so factored heavily into the winter shows too, it just felt like kind of like a tweener here. I feel like where it kind of got left behind a little. Didn't have the staying power of like White Lotus or Dopesick.
Yeah, I mean, it missed the PGA,
right?
Which I think, in hindsight, everyone should have taken more seriously.
Yeah.
Because as we before we made our final predictions, we said like that could have been the one show from last year that could miss, and it did.
We were pretty on it. I think we both. I still had it in though, like a dope.
I mean, I still had it in too, because it's also like if I leave it out, what do I put in? Like I had considered Inventing Anna.
Wow.
For I did, because of just the visibility, because we know it's watched. It's like the Emily in Paris situation, right. Like not a great show, but people watched it and they voted for it on unlimited ballot. Never once did I consider Pam and Tommy.
Amazing.
So what if Sarah wins?
I don't think she's gonna win. I'm just gonna say it. I love Sarah Paulson.
That's another transformation.
Great transformation. Show is maybe, I think that show in a fantasy world where that show is on Hulu the day after it aired on FX, or just all on Hulu, I think it would have gotten a lot more nominations. I don't think people really saw it.
I mean, it has more nominations than Made, so.
Yikes.
It's 5-3, so.
Tough beat.
I mean, it got into writing, so that's its second biggest nomination, and the other ones are for like makeup and stuff, obviously. Right. Yeah. So
for
okay,
actor
how about this? If Tony had run supporting,
yes,
who would have gotten the 6th spot here?
Oh boy, Jessica Chastain, I guess. I didn't predict her, but I would imagine
because Oscar got in.
Yeah. I mean, who else would you put in?
I don't know. Amish Patel got in to actor.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have put like Mackenzie Davis in, because she's like, it's such an ensemble, and she actually isn't, because the character, like Amish Patel plays that character the whole time, and Mackenzie Davis's character is split between two people. So
like if they like you, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it's not like a lead performance. I don't know.
I don't think they think about it like that. It doesn't matter.
I think about it like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
what about Beanie Feldstein?
Then you wouldn't vote it.
Beanie Feldstein, double nominee?
No.
For impeachment? No.
Beanie Feldstein, as we're recording this, her last performance in Funny Girl.
Wow, it's tonight?
Yeah.
Really going out with a lot of fanfare. Good for her. Michael Keaton for Dopesick. Joyce, I have him just running away with it. Sebastian Stan in second. Garfield for Oscar Isaac, and Amish Patel rounding out my list.
I mean, I don't know what else there's to say.
Is this the most predictable of the races in the whole Emmys?
Yes.
If he's
had this locked since he was in the bathroom during SAG and then left Salma Hayek waiting, and then he rolled onto that stage and then gave that very emotional and also insane speech.
It was a great speech, because it went from like, holy cow, this is insane and hilarious, to like, you're like want to tear up because it's so emotional.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. Only Michael Keaton could do this.
Yeah, for sure. And then like same thing, he did it again at Critics' Choice. Not in the bathroom, he was there, like in his seat when he won, but and obviously also won the untelevised Globe.
Yes. Remember that? Laughter is the best medicine, Joyce.
Yeah.
Music is
it's music.
It's music, not laughter. Laughter doesn't
but it's
do
both,
shit.
because
music is
as
good.
we learned 20 minutes after that, it was both. So
this might be the most, if he doesn't win, it would be my biggest upset of the night, I think. Just straight up. Even with Jennifer Coolidge and Murray Bartlett, who we'll talk about here coming up, I still think that they could lose. Maybe Michael Keaton would be the.
Oh, I think they could lose too.
I don't think Michael Keaton could lose. Like I really don't.
I have nothing to say. I don't know. I
He's-
mean, I have Sebastian in second.
I honestly think it's the most locked, even more locked up than Gene in comedy actress. Gene Smart.
Yeah.
It's wild. I'm so
Um,
psyched. I love Michael Keaton. Let him win.
I know, like I
Great.
want this for him, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want this for him because he has not won a lot of stuff in his career,
No.
or at least like a lot of stuff from his peers. Like this is an
Right.
industry award,
Right.
right? So,
I'd argue incredibly underrated actor.
yes, for sure. And like he should have an Oscar by now. He should definitely have more than one Oscar nomination by now. And this, you could tell, like, you know, obviously like from the speeches and everything, just also like a very personal story to
Right.
him. Like it means a lot to him. And yeah, so it'll be great to watch Michael Keaton win an Emmy.
What would you give Michael Keaton an Oscar for, Joyce?
Like of his past work.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I would have given it to him for Birdman.
So Birdman, he probably should have won over Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, his Chicago 7 co-star. I mean,
Nomination
like,
wise,
there's so many, like Mr. Mom, he was great. Beetlejuice, Clean and Sober, which was, you know, like it was about substance abuse, so like a
Right.
serious performance, right? This was back when he was just known for comedies as well.
yeah, he has a little bit of like Tom Hanks, like I thought of as comedy, but never like popped like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, like Multiplicity, just iconic performance.
I was gonna say
Multiplicity.
Beetlejuice, he probably should have gotten an Oscar nomination.
Hmm.
I'll say this: if Beetlejuice was played by Robin Williams, it would have gotten an Oscar nomination. I think they liked Robin Williams more at this time of the year, in this era of the Oscars.
I mean, I'm just looking at his credits now.
Me too. Batman, I don't think he would have got nominated, like we said. I would have nominated for The Paper, the greatest movie of 1994.
You would have given that a directing nomination, but not Best Picture, as we've already discussed.
Yes. Ron Howard for The Paper. Incredible, incredible work. Best Ron Howard movie. He doesn't have a lot of like lead.
Well, because he
stuff.
took a lengthy break,
Right.
like in the late 90s and then the aughts. So
Yeah, Birdman would have been a good one.
yeah, love First Daughter.
We're on a real tangent here, but Joyce, did you ever see the movie Worth? It's on Netflix. Absolutely.
I have not watched
excellent.
that was his twofer with Chicago 7 in 2020.
So that's like I'll go on a brief tangent, a further tangent, but that's another one of the things I feel like when you have Netflix has so many contenders, sometimes things get just like lost in the shuffle. That was one that was so good. It was a Sundance movie about like 9/11, the aftermath of 9/11, like trying to figure out literally the worth is like how much is a person who died in 9/11 worth from an insurance standpoint. And it's like he is unbelievably good in it as a
Yeah, he was
lawyer.
promoting both at the same time.
So good in it. Great movie. Did you like him in Morbius? Maybe we get him a 2020. Maybe
I
get
have
him a
not seen
supporting
Morbius.
actor.
So
So let me tell you something. He's not in it until the credit scene. And it
that's
doesn't
great.
make
I'm not gonna watch it. So
yeah, spoiler alert. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So
yeah, I mean, I loved him in Spider-Man Homecoming.
yeah, it was great in that.
Just when he opens the door and scares the shit out of Tom Holland.
So good.
Yeah, good
So he's
stuff.
got one other Emmy nomination for a nonfiction special as a producer.
Mhm.
So this is gonna be a great moment for Michael Keaton. I'm very psyched.
Yeah, I mean, like some of his like guest star stuff, like I loved him on 30 Rock.
Yeah.
He could have won for that too, you know, especially because they constantly nominated 30 Rock guest stars
Right.
back then too. But yeah, this will be a great moment.
Can't wait. I'm so excited for this. Limited supporting actress. Jennifer Coolidge. She's running away with this in our odds and in my picks, I guess. And then I have Kaitlyn Dever in second, Natasha Rothwell in third, Alexandra Daddario in fourth, Connie Britton in fifth, Sydney Sweeney in sixth, and Mare Winningham in seventh. All of them from either Dopesick or the White Lotus.
They only watched 2 shows.
That's it. There were only 2 limited series last year.
Yeah, it's true.
Pretty wild.
Not, you know, there were 600 shows that aired this season, but only 2 limited series.
Correct.
Yeah. So
If there was somebody who Jennifer Coolidge doesn't win, Kaitlyn Dever is obviously the next pick, but what White Lotus actress would you put here instead of Jennifer Coolidge?
I mean, my personal favorite is Alexandra, as we've discussed. Like, I would give it to Alexandra if you force me to give it to a White Lotus lady.
Right.
Like, I would have Jennifer in my personal White Lotus lineup. I would put Jennifer in like third. Like, I would do Alexandra and Natasha and then Jen.
I would do Sydney.
Of course you would.
And then I would do probably Natasha and then Alexandra and then Connie and then Jennifer. So we're not going to win the Jennifer Coolidge stands here, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I love Jennifer Coolidge.
Great.
The performance, good. Like,
Good.
I think people, it's like, just want her to win too.
So she had the what I like to call like the Black Panther at the previous year's Oscars moment last year at the Emmys, where she got like a huge round.
Yeah, she was the only White Lotus cast member to present last year,
and she got a big ovation. So it's basically like teeing her up to win this year. I think most people are just going to be like, we love Jennifer Coolidge, and I think she's going to win. But I do wonder if like Kaitlyn Dever could pull it out because she had such a meaty performance.
I think Kaitlyn can do it. I still have her in second. But I think she's like very clearly the alternate here. Like, I don't think Mare is gonna hurt her at all. Like, I think Mare got the nomination. This is her 8th nomination, to be clear. She's a 2-time winner. She's been nominated for 5 straight decades now. So, you know, queen of the Emmys. But like, she got in because she was a coattail nomination to Kaitlyn because of their storyline, or Kaitlyn's storyline. So you could say that Mare getting in bodes well for Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
So, and that's like an easier split to overcome than you can argue than overcoming 4 of your co-stars like Jen has to.
And then I think the other thing too with the White Lotus is I feel like they're all different flavors of performance. You know what I mean? Like every one of these is slightly different. So like there might not be, like, you're right. Like I think Kaitlyn is only helped by Mare there, but you could argue that like you could have a different, like we just did, like everybody could have like a different favorite White Lotus basically.
Yeah.
Because Jennifer Coolidge is doing like specifically Jennifer Coolidge things.
Yeah, it's a very Jennifer Coolidge performance too.
And like the others are not doing those things.
They're not doing Jennifer Coolidge performances.
Well, they're not doing Jennifer Coolidge performance. They're all doing like different stuff. Like Connie Britton, we've seen do like, she's not doing like a typical Connie Britton thing, I would say. Like, because Connie Britton is usually like
she's not Tammy Taylor.
Right. She's like the send up version of Tammy Taylor a little bit, right? Because she's like a girl boss, but also like not doing that great as a girl boss.
Yes.
And then Alexandra is like, you know, I don't even know, woke blogger who is like, doesn't want to do her.
And like also very sympathetic too.
Because her husband's such a dickhead.
Yeah. And then Natasha is also sympathetic.
Most sympathetic and gets to share the screen with Jennifer and like kind of has to field a lot of the Jennifer Coolidgeisms, which I found really impressive as a performance, right? Because I feel like it would be tricky to act with Jennifer Coolidge because if you're not on your toes, I think she could overpower her screen partners because she's so like talented and funny and like big. And Natasha kind of hangs in really well, I think.
Mm-hmm. So we've discussed this before at some point. I don't remember when, but what if Jen is like Catherine Hahn? And because like she's like the more comedic performance, the season-long frontrunner that everyone's predicting, and then Kaitlyn is the Julianne Nicholson, who's the lead star wins. Keaton is Kate,
right?
And then like Kaitlyn has like just a powerhouse performance, really good stuff, a lot more dramatic too and sympathetic. And she's nominated against a co-star, so Mare is the Jean Smart in this situation. But no one was picking Jean Smart for Mare of Easttown last year. So like Mare is not going to hurt Kaitlyn the same way that Jean did not hurt Julianne. You know,
I think you could see that. And I mean, I think that plus like vote splitting would put her over the top, basically. I don't know. Nobody's picking this. Everybody's like Jennifer Coolidge is going to steamroll through. Like,
yeah.
But you never know. I don't know.
So the other thing is I also think, I feel like if you're picking Dopesick for series, I feel like you would most likely, or like if you're an actor voting for Dopesick for series, you would most likely vote for most of the actors too. Like you're probably voting for Keaton,
Right.
and I could see you voting for Kaitlyn. Whereas if you're an actor voting for White Lotus for series, I guess you could vote for Jen in that she's just a front runner, and like who doesn't love Jennifer Coolidge, right? But I don't like if you're just like if you're saying about like the performance, I don't know. Like, like we just talked about, you could be picking other people from that show.
Also, from that show, like her character, I mean, it's definitely like it's a supporting performance, and obviously it's not like a main focal point, but I'm like, her character is not like as key to the show, I don't think, in like the plot machinations as like Murray Bartlett is. So clearly, like you don't have to like Murray Bartlett is almost the lead of White Lotus, right? So when we get to that category, like I have him winning. I have a hard time thinking anybody else could win. But Jennifer Coolidge, I'm like, you could argue that she's in it just a smidgen less than like some of these other women, and then maybe she, I don't know. I could see her getting upset. I think that the Catherine Hahn comp is really good.
Yeah.
Are we gonna actually do this? I'm not known to do it yet, though.
I mean, I haven't done it, but I've thought about it since nominations.
I guess we'll see how it goes. Like maybe in creative arts, maybe I'll jump ship then or something. Like a schmuck.
Depending on what
I don't know. I have no idea. White Lotus losing a couple of things that I think it'll win.
Yeah, I don't know, because like the other thing was like I had Julianne like after like the Mayor finale, because that was like obviously like her episode, right? But
Right.
and then it kind of just, I think I went back to Catherine because WandaVision got 23 nominations,
Right.
and then like her buzz sustained throughout the entire 9 months from when WandaVision premiered in January until the Emmys, but you can also say like, that's like a superhero show and they weren't gonna touch that. And obviously White Lotus is not a superhero show.
No, but I do think it like works that like we get like there is a little bit of like Jennifer Coolidge is definitely an internet approved favorite, right? Like everyone loves Jennifer Coolidge. So you're never gonna have like people like it just is like a self-fulfilling prophecy that of course she's gonna win. I think people really like Kaitlyn Dever too, but I think most like normals look at this category and are like, oh, everyone loves Jennifer Coolidge, like she's gonna win. But maybe you're right, like from a performance standpoint, or if you really like Dopesick, I mean, Kaitlyn Dever probably is the better performance of these two.
Yeah, and I would say it's also the most affecting performance too, in the same way of like Julianne versus Catherine last year.
And she has the better material from a dramatic standpoint. And
and again, the actor is also like Dopesick. He got 6 acting
right.
So
well, to be continued. I might switch, and then you won't switch, and you'll go with Jennifer, and she'll win, and I'll only like a schmuck, and I messed up. It's fine. Limited series supporting actor, Joyce. I have Murray Bartlett, as I just said, for White Lotus, and the rest of the category I have Seth Rogen, then Jake Lacy, Peter Sarsgaard, Michael Stuhlbarg, Steve Zahn, and Will Poulter. I think Murray Bartlett is the lead of White Lotus, I would argue, and I think he should win. It's a great performance.
It is. I have him in first too. And I have Seth in second.
Also a lead performance, arguably, like you said. At least in the beginning.
Just kind of like weird to frame that around his character. Yes.
I actually think I might end up with Jake in third and second. I have him in third right now. I love Jake Lacy on White Lotus.
I love for Jake to win. I would.
He's so good.
Of the White Lotus guys.
But he rolls.
I mean, so there's 3 of White Lotus and 3 of Dopesick. So that's a perfect split situation for Seth Rogen.
I just don't know if there's like he's good on the show. I just don't think like I don't think anybody's taking it seriously as like that he can win. I feel like.
No, and I don't think like the campaign is really Seb and Lily, right, of the actors.
Right.
So
and like I know why he got in and like it's a good performance, but I don't think he's serious enough to split this vote. And I also don't think the vote split's that severe because I don't think like the Dopesick guys are very strong contenders. And I don't think rest of the White Lotus guys are even that strong contenders compared to Murray. I don't think it's like a Jennifer Coolidge thing.
No, I mean like the Dopesick guys, I would go for Will if I were voting. And I actually do think in a similar way, like he's kind of like the most like relatable character. Like Stuhlbarg, I don't think he would have gone in had it not been for the unlimited ballot.
Right.
Like it's just like not that type of performance or role that inspires like passion, right? If they were restricted to like 5 slots or something, like I don't see a lot of people putting it down for that. And like I wouldn't have nominated him for the Staircase, not for this.
I thought he was getting in for Staircase. I was more high on Staircase, so
yeah. But
for him, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I like Steve Zahn too in the White Lotus.
Steve Zahn definitely representing Gen X dads, so that's why I was into him. Not the most flattering portrayal, Joyce, as it turns out.
No, but yeah, I have Murray here.
This one is pretty overwhelming. In our
I don't think I'll go away from him. I don't
know. Nobody even has nobody. It's almost as overwhelming as Michael Keaton, basically. So.
Yeah. But like, if he were to lose, like, would it actually be to Seth?
I don't know. I think it would be another Dopesick person. So whether it's Will Poulter or like Stuhlbarg for going like villainous or whatever, like I don't think it would be Seth. I just don't think they're taking that performance seriously as a winner.
So like, what if Dopesick is the mayor and it wins 3 acting awards, but not
then
series?
White Lotus would win series. It could be. So I was completely backwards on my terrible analogy earlier. It's night, Joyce. It's after dark.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I don't know. Directing we could do next. We have I'll tell you what, I have Station 11 winning, which is a Hope Diction. I don't think it's gonna happen. And then I have Dopesick and White Lotus in second and third. White Lotus is like the overwhelming favorite here. I just don't think it's gonna win both writing and directing. I think that's an easy pick to say it will, but I think it will more likely win writing because I think Mike White is more thought of as a writer than a director, and the writing of the show is really sharp. And I think the directing, you could make a case that Station 11 certainly is like way more elaborate and more complicated from a directing standpoint. So that's why I picked it. But I also think you could say Dopesick would maybe be a winner here, if not White Lotus.
Well, the question is, are you going to stick with Station 11 in September?
I actually think I might, because I don't think they need to pick one of these two to win directing. I just don't.
So, okay. So under this current system,
give me some facts, Joyce. Please help me.
So 2015, this current system, or since they went away from the tape system, directing Olive Kitteridge, The Night Manager, Big Little Lies, Versace, Chernobyl, Unorthodox, and The Queen's Gambit. So, oh God, remember that Scott Frank speech last year?
Wow. Do I ever? Scott Frank, one of my favorite filmmakers, but not a great winner of speech. Not a great speech maker when it comes to winning awards.
Yeah, never again, please. So all of these winners, they were, so they were nominated for series.
Yes.
And then Olive Kitteridge won, Big Little Lies won, Versace won, Chernobyl won, and Queen's Gambit won series. And then the two that did not, The Night Manager and Unorthodox. So they won this category directing thanks to a 3-way vote split, because in 2016, OJ had 3 directing nominations. And we've talked about before how it's difficult to overcome 3, especially in directing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Unorthodox won in 2020 when Watchmen had 3 directing nominations, and both OJ and Watchmen obviously won series those years.
So you're telling me that White Lotus or Dopesick will win?
Yes,
it's got a series. So
like the vote split situation here is the dropout because it has 2.
Right.
Not
I guess
great.
I would galaxy brain and say White Lotus and Dopesick both split themselves, because I think the series race is close enough that you could argue that people are going to like kind of be one or the other, and I think Station 11 can win.
Station 11 without a series nomination.
Yes, because I think you could say Station 11 is probably like sixth, honestly, the way it like shaped out.
Yeah, I mean, it did
Because
really
it got
well.
an acting, right? I mean,
I mean, I have White Lotus right now. I thought about my browser's frozen. But I thought about doing Dopesick, like that split,
right.
but I feel like they might just go with the sweeper.
They could. I mean, like it'd be very easy to do that.
Yeah, like if you think like the White Lotus is sweeping, and then, or like if you think it's winning series, I think it could win here too. Like I agree that it's seen more, or like Mike White is seen more of as a writer, right? And he'll
Right.
probably win that. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like Hiro Murai is the director of Station 11, so like he's obviously gotten a lot of nominations. I think he's like, so I'm going with the pick that I think is the best, which is stupid, right? Because I should just pick what's going to win.
Why do you predict like that? Stop picking your favorites.
I don't do it all the time, but I do it sometimes. And this is one of those times, Joyce. It should win. So I'm going
You're just hope dicting it.
I'm gonna hope dictate to the end. I'm gonna write that one down like Slim Pickens on a palm.
So Olive Kitteridge won. Olive Kitteridge won both, and then that was a split. Big Little Lies was also a split because that didn't win writing.
Right.
Black Mirror won writing. And then Black Mirror also won writing against Versace.
Right.
Chernobyl won both. Watchmen won writing. And then I May Destroy You won writing. So like Mike White is definitely more of the auteur of like a Michaela Cole, right? I wouldn't compare him to like, I mean, the Black Mirror situation is just like, that was dumb. But yeah, I guess you could do like the Mike White winning writing and then like Dopesick winning directing.
If I was gonna not pick Stage 11, I would pick Dopesick to win directing. I think they will split.
Like that makes
some sense,
right? But I just feel like if the White Lotus is as strong as it appears to be, that it could just easily win both, especially since it's not in the same triple vote split situation like Watchmen and OJ was.
Right.
Because those, like, they lost to The Night Manager
and no, I get it.
Which were directed by one person, you know.
Right. For writing, as I have White Lotus winning writing. I think no matter what happens directing, White Lotus win writing.
Yeah.
That one seems pretty apparent.
Yeah, what do I even have in second? I don't even know.
Dopesick, I have.
Probably Dopesick, yeah. Danny Strong. Yeah, the other ones are Station 11, Made, Impeachment, and The Dropout.
Right.
So
I have Station 11 in third in that one, Dropout in fourth. Not that matters, because it's not going to win. Joyce, that's the limited series category. What a barn burner! A lot of fun.
I know, we just talked about the same two shows.
Just like the Emmy voters, there were only two shows.
Yeah, that's it.
Do you want to do quickly for our fan? Talk about animation and some of these other categories we don't always touch on. Briefly, very briefly, because I don't think we have a lot to say. Some of these are just like already pretty set. So like for competition program, RuPaul's Drag Race.
I mean, what else are you gonna say?
Nothing. It's gonna win. Great show. for
I mean,
talks.
I would like, no shade against like RuPaul, but it'll be fun to see something else win at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could
and
say
I'm
that,
like a huge Amazing Race fan, but it
right.
was still boring when it was winning, over a decade ago. Like that's what it was so great when I lost in 2010 to Top Chef, because that was like a huge
Right.
upset. So
And then Variety Talk Series, you could say the same thing. John Oliver clearly going to win. It wins every year. Would be nice if something else won.
like Seth Meyers.
So it would be nice to
Finally
Seth to
nominated.
win, I think, but no, I don't think he's going to win.
It's just like they just refuse. They're so lazy in these categories. I mean, they're lazy in a lot of categories, but like these especially, like variety and reality competition.
For these, and this is silly, this would never happen, but for these shows that are on every year, they should actually, like, if you win one year, you're not eligible the following year. So somebody else
I don't
has to
think they
win.
need to go that far, but I feel like at this point, maybe they need to be paneled,
Right.
like force or like juried, like force like specific people to actually watch, whatever they submit. And then like maybe we could have different winners.
Right. Like this year is strange because I'm like, none of these shows, I mean, as someone who like watches the clips, I don't watch these shows live, Joyce. I gotta say, I watch them all online.
They're on too late. Okay.
Yeah, I'm asleep, but I watch all the stuff online. I read all the articles, all the aggregating. Love it. Can't get enough. I'm not sure any of these had a particularly strong season.
No,
Like,
I feel like nothing. I don't watch these things either. I usually I don't watch like the sketches, but I might watch an interview or two if I like the guest, right?
right.
And I feel like nothing truly went viral this year.
I think like Colbert would have a pretty good shot, but I don't think he's gonna win of these other five,
I just like it just
other four.
when like John Oliver, like love John Oliver, but when you're just like when like one show or one person just constantly winning, it's just like it implies like none of these other shows are worthy when it's really just the voters being lazy.
Right.
You know,
Speaking of lazy voters, variety sketch series, Joyce, Saturday Night Live will win. Over Black Lady
SNL
Sketch
should just be happy that sketch and talk are still split.
Yeah.
So because
Maybe coming to an end. Kenan Thompson said 50 seasons would be great for SNL.
well, Lauren will just be like 50 seasons is good for you, and like you're gone.
And then a variety writing special, Joyce. This one, not a lot of people have picked yet. It was a new add to our categories. It looks like I've Gerard Carmichael winning for Rothaniel, and then Norm Macdonald in second.
Yeah.
So this is like there would be a sympathy vote maybe for Norm Macdonald. Obviously, rest in peace because he's dead.
I don't think like he'd win because of that. I think it'll like Gerard would probably win. Like he just fits more in like the Hannah Gadsby type of writing win, or like John Mulaney, And
it was a special, I think, even if you don't watch comedy specials, you heard about because of like how good it was. So yeah, I have him winning. We don't even have animated because it's not in here. It'll be creative arts choice. But I think we both have Arcane winning?
Yeah, I have Arcane. I've said before, I was forced to watch it with my friend. And not my thing, but great animation, a lot of good stuff there. Looks great.
Great gowns, beautiful gowns.
Yeah, great gowns, beautiful gowns. So good for it. I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say.
Nothing to say, Joyce.
I mean, so like animation. What won last year? I don't even remember. Not Arcane, I know that. So
I'm looking slowly.
It wasn't The Simpsons, right? Simpsons won recently. But I don't think
Primal.
Oh no, it was what's his name? It was Primal, right?
Yes. Andy Tartakovsky.
Yeah. So I could see like Arcane winning. So
yeah, based on because they pick like the more Tory one, maybe.
Yeah, Simpsons won in 2019. That was unexpected.
And that's it, Joyce. So next week, maybe we'll go back to comedy
Yeah.
to
Sure.
laugh it up. A little laughter.
What is there to
Music is
laugh
the
about?
best. What's up?
What is there to laugh about in comedy?
Music? Is that right? Laughing about music is the best medicine? No,
But what of these shows have music?
I don't know. I got to think about it. I got a week to think about it, Joyce. I'll come up with something good. But this was fun. Talk to you later. Bye.